Hello, this video continues from the previous one. Recall that initially we started with two balls as objects, B1 and B2, and they bounced around on the screen. What we did after that is we made them into an array. So I now have an array of balls, and I can set the number here to be 20, and everything works just fine. I can also delete the balls by clicking on them. And as we mentioned in the previous video, when you make an array, it has a certain size, and that size cannot change. We don't actually delete the ball. We either hide it by moving it off the screen, or by adding a property called visible and setting it to be false. What I'm going to do now is change this program into an array list of balls. So here's the original program, and it still has the two balls. And what we're going to do is make it into an array list so we can change the number of balls as the program is running. To make an array list, you do this. You have to say what type of object goes in the array list. You have to give it a name. Okay, so the syntax is a little bit strange, but that's what it is. Now we're going to actually create the balls, and that is also really quite simple. If I can get my fingers to cooperate with me. So we're going to start with maybe 6 balls. And first we're going to make a ball, and then what we'll do is we will add it to the ball list. Okay. So that's really all you have to do to create objects and add them to an array list. Later on I'll show you how you can combine both of these lines into one, and it's really quite trivial. In the meantime, what I would like to do is change the colors of the balls. So first of all, if it's an even number, if I is an even number, it's really hard to type and speak at the same time. Okay, so half the balls are going to be yellow, the other half will be cyan. That's great. We'll need to move the balls, so let's do that here as well. And move ball, ball. That will take care of moving all of the balls, and then we just have to draw them on the screen. And if I call this B1, then I don't have to rename the B1 down here. And that will work fine too. I can now go and refactor this and just change that to be B. So I think this is everything we need. We now have balls bouncing around on the screen, and this is how many there are. I can change them like that. However, what we want to do now is we want to add the balls possibly by clicking on the screen, or maybe by pressing the space bar. Okay, I'm going to do it so I press the space bar to add the balls. So let's see if gc.get key character, if the character is a space, add a new ball to the ball list. And I think this will work. Oh boy, so I just touched the space bar and all of a sudden it's got 100 balls. So this is not really working very well. What I want to do is I want to change it so that it will only add 1. What I've got to do is detect if the key is down or not. So the space bar is number 32. Let's see if this still works. It should do exactly the same thing. Yep. Okay. Now, let's make some changes here. So that can go there. So if it's ready to add, and the space bar is down, add the ball, and then turn off ready to add. The way ready to add gets turned on is when you let go of the space bar. Okay, now this should work, and every time I hit the space bar, I should get one more ball. Yep. And you can see if I type really fast, I get more than one. I mean, well, each time I press the space bar, I get one ball. Okay, the code for isKeyDown would also work in Swing Graphics. You could look it up here. I guess it's in Graphics Console. And I think you would want to just read over the code here, find out how it works, add it to Swing. Whoever thought of it, it's a very clever way of doing it. And I'm just using that to see if the key is down or not down. Okay, so we've added balls, and our array list gets bigger each time we add balls. So let's delete balls as well. To delete a ball, we're going to click on the ball, and then maybe we'll try and set it up so we can right-click on the ball. First, we're going to, pardon me. First, we're going to try and just click on the ball. I'm going to grab the code from here where we were clicking on it and put that into here. Now, if you look at this, I have a whole pile of errors, and the first time I did this, it took me a long time to figure out what happened. What happens is that Eclipse does something really stupid. Because I'm pasting code in from another class, it decides to add in an import, and this import messes everything up because I don't actually want this import, and it doesn't ask me if I want it. It just puts it in and destroys my program. So I have to fix that by doing that. Okay. Is visible is not going to happen, so ball list.remove, and we're just going to remove whichever ball we're at right then. So if you click the mouse, grab the location of the mouse, and then what we do next is if one of the balls contains the point which we click on, we'll remove that ball, and I need to enable the mouse. Okay, let's see if this works here. If I click on a ball, okay, they're going way too fast. Okay, if I click on the ball, the program crashes and I get an error. The error is concurrent modification exception, which means I'm going through a list of balls here, I'm removing something from inside the list, and the program can't keep track of where it is in the list after I remove it. This is just not going to work. What we have to do is do a normal for loop. So that's my normal for loop. Then I have to actually get the ball because it's only the for each loop that gets it. Okay. So if you do a for each loop, it actually does this step automatically for you. But since I'm doing a normal loop, I have to specifically do that. And then I'm going to remove the ball that I click on. And I have to set my loop counter back 1 so that I don't miss the next ball. Okay, well, I can add balls, and I can delete them. Okay, so that's going really well here. I'm going to show you how you can right-click. It's a little bit unusual. What you have to do is you have to wrap this whole thing in another if statement, and this has to go on the outside. So this is saying if the right button is down, first of all I press the right button. When I let go of the right button, it then detects that it's been clicked, I think. And then it gets the point, and then it goes through all the balls and removes it. Kind of nasty. Let's see if it works. Okay, it's working. Those are right-clicking, and left-clicking does nothing. Okay, lots of left clicks and a right click. Okay, great. I think it would work better if I don't actually move the balls. Then you can see the right clicking and left clicking better. Left click, right click. Left click, right click. Okay, so this is actually working. This mouse button thing does some weird stuff, but anyway, if you ever had to use this in the HSA graphics, that's what you would do. And this sort of logic for adding balls will work in any sort of program, graphics program you do. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much.